Oh, Gretchen, the modernization program started in 2017. And the modernization program aimed to modernize and make our jeepneys, particularly jeepneys, more efficient. So there are benefits to the modernization. Number one is to transition the jeepneys from a much more cleaner fuel, which is Euro 4, and eventually transition it to e-vehicles or electric jeeps, which is the trend globally right now. At the same time, it will make it more efficient. No? The modern jeeps can carry up to 40 passengers. The current jeepneys can carry up to 20 passengers. So the aim of the modernization is quite beneficial. However, 2017 and 2023 is totally different. If the modernization, part of the modernization plan is for the jeepney drivers to pay for the modernization. But right now, gasoline prices are totally different from 2017. A liter of gasoline and diesel right now will cost you about 60 pesos per liter. In 2017, it's only as low as 30 pesos per liter. So, in other words, the take-home pay of our jeepney drivers is much lower now. And it will be a problem for them to repay the modernization program. So, I think it's just proper to delay it and re-study the business model of the modernization program.
Okay, sir, just to follow up on this modernization program, no, because some are worried that this is a complete replacement of what they have. Can you say that there's a possibility that we'll just look at modifications, do it in a staggered way, and make the transition a little bit easier on the jeepney drivers?
I think the bottom line here is economics, and what should be affordable for the jeepney drivers. So, if the jeepney drivers will be compelled to replace their jeeps, and they will be compelled to pay those replacement, and with the current gasoline prices right now, it's virtually impossible for them to do so. Remember, the original plan was during the time when gasoline prices were very low. No? At that time, it was 30 pesos per liter. But because of the Russian invasion, it went up as high as 90 pesos per liter. Some of our jeepney drivers are already crying because lugi sila. No? They're paying more for gasoline rather than taking home something for their families. So, in other words, we need to rethink whether this business model is still efficient at this present time, considering that the Russian invasion is still there, prices of gasoline is still elevated, and nobody knows when the prices of gasoline will go down to its normal level. So we really need to rethink all of these things, and that will take time. That's why the postponement of the modernization is just rational. And let's look at the economics of this program.
The bottom line issue here seems to be the cost to the jeepney owners. Is there a way to resolve this? Do you think government can possibly subsidize a huge amount to make this affordable?
No, with the current fiscal deficit right now, it's impossible for government to increase the subsidy. The subsidy ranges from 160,000 pesos to 300,000 pesos. We're talking about 50,000 jeeps. No? So it's virtually impossible at this time for government to increase the amount of subsidy, to also increase the number of jeeps to be subsidized. At the same time, because of inflation right now, earlier it was flashed, no, the balance of the 2 million will be borrowed from government financial institution. That borrowing will be paid off by the jeepney drivers themselves. You have to remember also interest rates are high right now. The Bangko Central just increased interest rates by 50 basis points, almost 6%. During this time, in 2017, when we were talking about cost of borrowing, it was only around 2 to 3%. So, in other words, interest payments alone has doubled in the last 1 year.
Sir, final question, no, just to clarify for our viewers here and be very clear, is this a program of the DOTR or is there a law that calls for the phase out of jeepneys in particular?
You don't need a law for a modernization program. This is a policy direction of the previous administration. Like I said, there are benefits to the modernization program: cleaner air, more efficient transportation, route rationalization. So there are benefits definitely, but those benefits are now overshadowed by high interest rates, high fuel cost, and low income for our jeepney drivers. So again, we have to. The situation now is wildly different compared to 2017. That's why we need to rethink. We need to run the numbers because we cannot force the drivers to switch to modern jeeps if they cannot afford it. If you will ask them to pay interest cost plus amortization, it's virtually impossible at 6% interest rates.
Sir, if it's not through government subsidy, what other options, financial options, do you see now that can protect the interests of our small-time jeepney drivers?
Gretchen, we have very limited space right now, no? Because of interest rates are very high, because we borrowed a lot to fight the pandemic. Deficit is quite high right now. No? If you look at the debt to GDP ratio, it's about 60%. Pre-pandemic levels, the debt to GDP is only 30%. So in other words, the space to give out more subsidies has been reduced because of the pandemic. And that's another issue that we need to look at, because if government cannot increase the subsidy, then obviously it will be the drivers who will cough up more money to replace their jeeps.